Today, with so much multimedia, it's so wonderful to be able to watch any show I want, to go online, to gather information, and particularly for our children, how much fun are they having with playing the video games on their computers, when it can be sometimes 20 hours a week they're playing video games on their computers. And their parents say, I can't stop them, because if you take them off of their games, they throw tantrums just like an adult would throw if they were giving up a serious drug like heroin or cocaine. And that's because hours on a computer has the same effect on the brain as taking cocaine. And we have to recognize that. We have to regulate how much time our children spend. And if telling your child that you can't spend time on the computer causes a drug withdrawal, then you know they're addicted. And you want to heal that addiction by taking them away from that excess stimulation. Now, recently on a TED Talk, a woman stood up talking about all the benefits of watching video games. Well, what she didn't talk about is all the side effects of watching video games for hours and hours. It becomes addictive. What does an addiction mean? What an addiction means is you're overstimulating the brain with dopamine, just as cocaine does. It feels really good. It makes you alive, awake, aware, enthusiastic, focused. It stimulates you, but at a higher level, so it pulls your attention in. If you continue to do that high stimulation, what you get is something called downregulation of dopamine receptor sites. Now, normal stimulation, like trying to please your parents, seeking peace and harmony in the family, cleaning up your room, doing your homework, these are too boring. They're not motivating. I'm just motivated for my cocaine and going back to my overstimulation, which could be sitting in front of an iPad playing games, could be sitting in front of a TV set for hours, or playing video games, which is even more dopamine intensive to the brain. And yes, they found many benefits, like increased mind-body coordination from playing video games. But you can get that by throwing a ball. Every single benefit you can get from a computer, you can get by doing your homework, getting approval from your parents, and playing sports, and living a normal life. You get the same benefits. Yes, you get some of those benefits from playing video games, but you also become a drug addict. It's just a different drug now. It's a digital drug. And the problem it produces for children and for all of us is a lack of depth in our life, is that we can't just sit and be present and relax and have conversations. We're always seeking the next stimulation, this hyperstimulation. For some people, it shows up as hyperactivity. So they're always rushing, moving from one thing to another. As little children, they're restless. That's ADHD. But you can also have hypersensitive. Some children, their temperament is not the active temperament, the bold temperament. It's more of a sensitive temperament. They become hypersensitive. So now they're going to be affected much more. They're much more emotional. They're affected more by the environment. They usually have digestive problems. A third of our population now in the United States can't digest wheat. These are the sensitives, but hypersensitive. We have also the people who are the creative, the bright children, but they're very distracted, like the Einsteins and so forth. But they're distracted. They're so hyper-focused on one thing, they're distracted to everything else. You get another sensitive type. Another type is the more responsible child. These are the easy as you go. When they become hyper-responsible, they become rigid, they become righteous, they become defiant. They stick, they don't have flexibility. All of these things are the result of overstimulation of dopamine in the brain as a result of our hyper society, our hyperstimulation. We need to take our kids out into the country, and they have to learn. They'll play. We all did when we were little children. Just send your kids out and play as long as it's safe. Life is boring until you start doing things, but you have to go through the withdrawal. Life will be boring. You won't know how to engage yourself in nature and normal life and conversation, interest in others, listening to music. You won't know how to do it unless you can turn the volume way up and over-intensify things, which is actually leading us away from what we're all looking for, which is connection and love and happiness and peace. So the neurosis of today, due to our hyperstimulation, is that people today are valuing those things that are not important and therefore not valuing those things that are important. And that then gives rise to a whole sense of when is enough enough. What we see is corporate leaders making billions of dollars and yet paying less than minimum wage to their employees. They're so invested in what I have is not enough, always wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. When is enough enough? That's balanced brain function, and we're losing that today, which is the ability to always want more, but to appreciate what we have at the same time, and that creates the balance that we need today.